Welcome to the TV Book Club. I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Lori.
Today we're talking about Golden Girls, Season 1, Episode 21, The Flu Attack. All right, what'd you think about the episode?
It was a good one. I mean, I have seen every episode of The Golden Girls, and this is not even a joke. It's probably underplaying it at least 500 times. And I'm probably underplaying the amount of times in which I have seen these.
I'm going to say, I feel like 500 might be overplaying it a little bit.
Well, I started when I was a kid and they were live on TV. Mm-hmm. I watched reruns of them almost every night at dinner with my family. I went to college and I would put the box set in and I would start it and I would watch it all day long. So I may not have sat and watched every day, but I would daily do it and I would fall asleep to them every night.
All right.
And to this day, I still will put the Golden Girls on and fall asleep.
500 still seems like a lot, but okay.
I'll give maybe it to you. I will say there are some episodes I have seen less because there's a few of them I don't really like. Just a few, like maybe 4 that aren't my favorite.
All right, so in that case, best moment, worst moments.
I didn't have necessarily worst moment for this. I'd say my more bored part in this episode is usually once they get to the award ceremony. Mm-hmm. I find it to get a little more boring. Best moment, for sure, I am Dorothy. Mm-hmm. And
yeah, I mean, especially at the very beginning.
Yes, when Rose...
100% you.
Oh my gosh. Like when Rose sneezes, Dorothy's facial expression when she jumps back and says, "Stay away from me, Rose." And Rose is like, "It's just an allergy." That was like, oh my gosh, I feel that. And also my memorable quote was from then, was when she comes in and she says she needs aspirin because she's achy. And Dorothy's like, achy? What kind of achy? Head achy, stomach achy, back achy? What achy? That is me, and you know it. I cannot, if you're even, slightly hurting, I'm like, how? How bad is it? What is it? Where is it? And then when Blanche says, it's just probably a little cold, she'll be all right. And Dorothy says, yeah, but I won't. I hear a story about somebody catching a cold, and I get it. I'm very susceptible.
Yeah.
These are, lines I have said.
Right. Yeah, that's, I left all those quotes and everything for you. Cause
you're figured, that's just my kid walked in one day when I was watching this episode. I've currently watched this episode 5 times in the last month. So she walked in one day and that scene was on and she goes, "Mom, that's you." Yeah. And I was like, yes.
Well, worst moment for me, it was kind of a split. It was the same thing, but for one, the time skip was weird that they just you didn't know how much time had passed between each scene, but it was clear time had passed. And that was a little confusing. But worst moment, I think, was when they were arguing over the TV about watching. Blanche wanted to watch Another World.
Because you have to watch it every day.
Right. They were arguing like they could only run their TV for one single episode of TV a day when they were all sick. Why couldn't... I get that she just didn't want to watch that show.
And that Blanche did. So you have to think about it back in the 80s where if you want to watch Another World, you are watching it at that time only. And soap operas don't rerun. There was no other chance. So it may have just been that they'd been watching it whenever and they were going to turn it on and then she was like, no, you picked a show for us to watch yesterday. I'm not watching this dumb show again. I think it was just supposed to be that type of thing.
But that was what I was like, what? You picked the show? So they watched one TV episode per day maximum while sick. I was just like, couldn't she have just watched that and then Dorothy just had the TV for...
But maybe Dorothy wanted something that came on at the same time is all I can think.
Yeah,
they just both wanted something at that 2:00 slot.
Right. And that's why it's the worst moment for me because...
You just don't remember what it was like in the 80s when you had to fight with people to watch a TV show
But it was same as the time skip. They didn't explain how much time... They didn't really... It was hard to tell how much time had passed between each scene. And also, Dorothy didn't get, she wasn't like,
like a day or
no,
two.
this show is also on and I want to watch it. She
I
was
feel
just like,
like-
no, you can't watch that because I want to pick something else.
I just feel like you're not seeing it because it's no longer the 80s and we can stream everything all day.
Well,
and
I
it's
get
messing
that.
up like that feeling that we all used to have. And like, I think, people didn't watch as much TV back then either. So they probably
Yeah,
just,
I
and I don't
mean-
think they had TVs in their bedrooms. They talk about that in a couple of the
right.
episodes.
That
so.
I knew. It just was weird that her argument wasn't, no, I don't want to watch that. It was, I want to watch something else. But there was nothing, she wasn't like, I want to watch something else and it's on too. And I haven't gotten to watch that.
I just got the feeling that like Dorothy just didn't like soap operas and she didn't want to watch them again.
Which,
So she was just like, I'm not going to watch it again. You picked, and we had to sit with you yesterday to watch it, and I'm out here too, and I'm not watching it again. That was my like interpretation.
yeah, I mean, it's a minor worst moment, but both of those things to me were just like, they kind of just breezed over them without giving any kind of,
Maybe you're not lady enough.
maybe not. I mean, what did Dorothy want to watch?
She just didn't want to watch soap operas
Right.
because
Well,
some
why didn't
people
she
just
just say
don't
that?
like soap operas.
She just say, I don't want to watch soap operas, or just go nap while.
But she didn't want to
Blanche
nap
watched
anymore.
it.
She'd slept in, and now it's time to watch TV. I
yeah.
got it. I felt it.
I guess so. That was the only off moment for me. Best moment. Well, I guess you already gave your quote.
Well,
so.
no, yeah, I was. I was gonna say that I put this somewhere else, but this kind of fits under the worst, I think. One thing that bothered me, because we're talking about like what bothered us, Blanche and Dorothy and Rose all sounded stuffed up. Rose sounded stuffed up all the time. Blanche and Dorothy's came and went. And that drove me crazy that 1 second they'd sound stuffy, really stuffy, and then they wouldn't sound so stuffy, then they'd sound stuffy again. And it was like they weren't holding that enough for me.
Well, memorable quote, since you gave yours too already, is when Rose is talking about her home remedies book. And then Sophia says, I hope that it has a cure for crankiness because it's going around. It just made me laugh when she said that. So best moment, though. You have a best moment of the episode?
Well, yeah, I said it already. It was Dorothy's facial expression when she told her to
right,
back.
right,
And
yeah.
I also liked the moment where they're all fighting over who might get the best friend of whatever
Yeah.
award. And they're telling Dorothy she can't get it. And then Rose says, Dorothy, you have done some good work, but not enough people like you. I don't know. I thought that was like a good moment.
I liked now, this was a twist for me because I haven't seen the episode, or, I mean, I probably have, but not for a really long time.
Not 5 times this month.
Yeah. The twist that Sophia won, I think, was the best moment, just because it felt like a very Sophia moment, that she put it in their heads that one of them won so that they would be there for her acceptance of, I think she didn't outright say it, but I think she already knew for sure that she had won. And the lady had told her when she was like, hey, they're not going to come because they have the flu. I think the lady was like, oh, well, you won the award, so, if they can make it. And so instead of just telling them, hey, come because I won the award, because that
Well, they
wouldn't have
wouldn't have
convinced
done
them.
that.
Right. She instead made them think that one of them had won.
I love that she said, it's not what she said, it's what she didn't say. And they're like, well, what didn't she say? Well, I don't know. She didn't say it.
Yeah. So I thought that was the best moment because I didn't actually see it coming. I just assumed none of them were going to win or something.
Yeah, see, I've seen it so many times. I can't have
Right.
that kind of feeling.
Right.
But Sophia did use it to do a nice speech about friends and kind of
Right.
get them all to realize they need to stop fighting
Yes.
with each other.
But
So she did use it as a teaching moment.
that's true. But she did get him pretty good.
So
Any character development or anything in this episode that
No.
They bonded as friends.
I mean,
I think that happens in a lot
I think
of
the Golden
episodes.
Girls a lot of times puts a little like moral in their episodes. Maybe not every episode, but a lot of times, like you kind of see the when you live together, you fight, but really what's important is that you have those friendships. I think they throw those underlying themes in there a lot. Um, the other notes I have is just that I sneeze like Dorothy, like
Yep.
super loud.
Uh-huh.
And every time I watch this episode, every time when Sophia comes out to talk to them and tell them the pesto and the ear story, and she's eating raisins, I want raisins. I don't normally like to watch people eat things or listen to it, but something about those raisins, every time I'm like, I got to go get a box of raisins.
Now, this note that I made is not about this specific episode, but about the Golden Girls in general. The one thing that I always think about when I watch, when they're in the living room, the background of their living room, there's like a sunroom in the background. They never use that part of their house.
That's not true. There's an episode where Blanche has a pen pal in prison and he gets out and he ties Sophia up and she's back there. And there's another episode, I can't think of what's happening, but Sophia's sitting in the dark in that back room.
That's
So every once in a while,
Okay,
Sophia
so-
is sitting back there.
which that was my. I wondered if that was actually a physical background.
It doesn't
like if
go
it's
back like
constructed.
super far, but that the first
Right.
set of chairs back there is a chair that Sophia sits in sometimes.
That's
Not often, but
because I was looking at it and couldn't tell. I was like, well, is that a real background or is that like just a painting? You know, they
like
do that a
the
lot.
depth part isn't
Right.
there.
Right,
But it
it's-
does go back a little bit with some
Okay,
chairs that they
that's-
sometimes sit in the closer ones.
I don't know why that was in my mind, but pretty much every time I watch it, I think, why are they always they go outside to get sun, but they have that giant sunroom. And
Yeah.
you don't see them use it.
I always wondered why they didn't that wasn't just the lanai that they go on.
Right. Why?
And just at least make it look like the lanai because it is just sort of like a fake area.
Yeah. Instead, they're always like outside,
Yeah.
which that was what I wondered was if it was. So if they use it, it's probably a perspective thing where it's a lot
right.
smaller. But
Yeah, it's just a small, like a couple steps back from the couch. There's a chair that Sophia occasionally, depending on like how crazy the episode goes, she'll be.
which still does
sitting
make me
back
wonder. I wonder if it's a perspectively built set, or if
No,
there's
it's
just a chair there and then it's a painting.
I think it's just a painting.
Yeah, like a backdrop painting.
Yeah, yeah. Like that's what I've always thought.
Yeah, I mean the lighting's good back there too. So I don't know, but that was just a thing that stood out to me that I was like, I wonder. But I didn't know that they ever even interacted at all with it. So there has to be some depth to it.
Yeah, there is.
All right, what else have we got here? Okay, how about some trivia? Trivia time. There wasn't a lot for this one. But when they're fighting over the TV, Blanche specifically wants to watch Another World, which was an actual soap opera. And it was a soap opera that was on the same network as the Golden Girls.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
They usually would use it. I mean, I know that was I know all the soap operas. I watched them at that time in my life also. I did not watch Another World. It wasn't one of mine, but it makes sense they would pick one on the same network.
They picked their actual, and that was only the same network at the time. It actually moved, I think, from NBC at some point. But just a nice little bit of trivia. The only other trivia I read and was like, is this trivia? It's when they're first shown sick on the couch. Blanche is covering her eyes. Dorothy's covering her
hear,
ears.
no see, no speak, no evil.
And I mean, that was kind of It's like, is this trivia?
I don't know. That's like
kinda
pretty obvious.
That
Like
was-
if you know it, then that's
right,
not.
which I guess Another World being a soap opera on NBC was also probably obvious. I mean, it was if you were watching it at the time, but like nowadays, that's a good little piece of trivia. The see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. I was like, I mean, yeah, that was the gag.
Yeah, they
Like,
even use that as like the thumbnail, the episode thumbnail, and it's the three of them, so you really see it well. So
right. So how do you rate the episode?
I give it a 4.
A 4? I had 4. I'm gonna stick with that. I gotta stick with what I rate it when I watch it.
There are slightly better
it a
Golden
4.
Girl episodes, but this is a fairly good one. I connect well with Dorothy in the episode, so I think I like it a little more because of that. But
Other than
there are better ones.
Other than my minor problems with the timeline, I also thought it was a pretty good one. So
I can
a
also
4.
rewatch it over and over again.
Yeah.
It's one of the like rewatchable
It is
episodes.
a pretty good episode. So.
Although honestly, most Golden Girl episodes are a 4, except for a few, and then a few are better, and just
Is there a
few are less.
5?
Probably, but I mean, I would say every show has a 5, but I would almost have to like binge the whole
I think
series
every show has a 5.
for the show for its show.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I'm gonna say
if I'm rating it against
I don't know
other
about
shows, then no, every show does not have a 5.
Okay,
if I'm
okay,
rating it
that's-
against itself, I guess that's the thing. Are we rating this against itself, or are we rating against other shows in the universe?
I mean, I guess follow your heart, whatever you think.
I mean, even if I had to rate this against other shows in the universe, this would be a 4. Same with the Frasier, but
Yeah.
because I can rewatch them all the time, and I think
Yeah.
for me, if I can rewatch it, it has a better rating.
All right, so I'm gonna give it a 4 also. So that's a 8 even. 8 Tylenol out of 10, or 8 friend of the Friends award. I don't remember what the award name was
Best friend
called.
of the friends of the friend. I don't remember either. There's a lot of friends in there.
Also, in the previous episode, we rated Frasier a 4 and a 4.5.
And you said it was a 9.5,
Yeah.
and that can't be right.
It was an 8.5. So,
Yeah. Math bad.
yeah. But 8 even on this one. And next week's episode of the TV Book Club is going to be The King of Queens, Season 1, Episode 7, The Rock. Or possibly Pizza. Unclear of the title. So, Season 1, Episode 7, regardless. And thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you next week.